After five. What's up, everybody? Hey, welcome. This is the Monday Live. Grateful to have you all here. Let me just get the chat up as we are live on multiple channels. Trying it in portrait mode. Would love your feedback. Do you like it better portrait? Would you rather go landscape? Tell me what you appreciate, what you like. Okay. What marriage counseling or relationship counseling will teach you about leadership? Now, I'm up here in Seattle, and University of Washington has the Gottman Institute, or Dr. John Gottman, based out of this area. And for those of you who have ever been relationship counseling, you're very familiar with the Gottmans. And I tell you, there's a lot that can be learned from relationships at home on leadership. And I could talk about this for hours, but I like to keep this brief and short. So I'm really going to share really two really core aspects as to what your marriage or your intimate relationship is going to teach you about leadership. And I can tell you on my end just how this has impacted me through my time in relationships and in relationship counseling. And some of the really important key things that I've learned and how I've been able to apply it to a lot of my training, to a lot of my teachings, and how it can impact yours as well. So the Gottman Institute, if you study any other work, they talk about this ratio, and this ratio. What they identified, what the Gottmans identified, was that the intimate relationships that make it, the ones that stick together, they when they talk to each other, they give them give each other a ratio of 5 positive, or of positive affirming statements for every one correction. And notice I said the word correction, not criticism. We're not Criticism is attacking someone's character. We're talking correction, which is, hey, that hurt what you just shared with me, or this is how I would want to be, this is how I want to work together, or what you said, uh, how this is how it impacted me, right? Provided some correction because I love you, and it was an effort that you made that maybe didn't work out, and I can help you with some correction. Now, what they determined was, of the thousands of people that they interviewed and studied, is that those that make it affirm a ratio of 5 positives to every one correction. 5 to 1. That's the sweet spot, the ratio that seems to work for those that are sustainable. And I can tell you, as leaders in business and in relationships, parenting, so much of it is flipped. It's generally 1 to 5. And I'm going to prove it to you. So imagine that you are at home and your partner comes home. It's the end of the day. They walk in the door, and what happens? Well, the first thing they say is, "Oh my gosh, the trash bins weren't taken in. The kid's homework hasn't been started. The dog hasn't been fed. The dishes haven't been taken to the dishwasher. The dinner hasn't getting started. And oh, nice to see you, sweetheart." And it's correction, 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 correction. And then one high level, no real in depth to it, just like, "Hey, good to see you, sweetheart. How was your day?" That's the norm for most people. If you're saying that's not me, Cletus, that's not normal, then you are in rare error, because that's the norm for most people. And they don't even realize they're wearing these rose colored lenses, thinking like that's the way life should be. That's not. And that's where a lot of relationships get in trouble. That's where a lot of leaders get in trouble. Because think about it, from a leadership standpoint, you have various people in your life, people that you lead. And here's what happens: you are leading them, and it's all about what they're not doing well. I remember, as a former athlete, my coaches, it was constantly, your hips weren't low enough, you weren't communicating enough, your hams weren't high enough, your eyes weren't on the right spot, your hip, correction, 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 correction. And then they would give me one like superficial high level, like, "Okay, good job, get it next time." 1 to 5 is how most of us are living, and it's draining, dude. My friend, whether you lead in the office, if it's at home, it is draining. And so we want to flip it. And I'm telling you right now, it's just going to be one of the most challenging things you're going to do because it's become the norm. It's how maybe you were parented. It's how you saw your parents communicating. It's how you've been led. People, managers, bosses, people that have led you. That's been the norm. You and me, let's flip that. Let's let's take the rose-colored glasses off on how we see things and recognize that there's a whole different world in which I can help and support you through recognizing you and pouring into you from a positive standpoint. Now, some of you lead individuals on teams, and you may be thinking, Cletus, there's no way in hell I can do 5 positives to every one correction on my team. And I'm gonna challenge you because it doesn't have to be just like this really in depth, like, hey, what's up? Thank you all for joining. In depth feedback. It could be something simply as using somebody's name. Boom, there's one positive. Give them a high five for the day. Ask them about their weekend. Like these are little things, but so quickly someone gets in on a Monday morning, they sit down at their office, they start getting in. And it's like, okay, what are we gonna do on this deal? And this is how things didn't go well last week. And here's how the presentation, the slides didn't work. And it's like we go into correction, 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 versus, you know what? I see you. Because that's what people ultimately want. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be valued. And they want to feel safe. And so when you recognize them on a constant and consistent basis, it's like a bank account. You've probably heard this analogy before. You're simply just making deposits for that one time that you need to make a withdrawal, which is like, yo, okay, this is what this is what I saw. Maybe in your activity level or in your effort or in that presentation or how you handled this document. But you have enough deposits in there when you make that one withdrawal, it's not like you're overdrawn and you're hit with a bunch of fees or the silent treatment or someone becomes avoidant. You can see the parallels between at home and in the office. So yes, this is a relationship thing, the ratio 5 to 1, but it applies to leadership across the board. Again, whether you lead at home or at the office, challenge yourself to start to fill someone's, and from a positive standpoint, to the tune of 5 positives for every one correction. And it's going to, the Gottman's already proved it, it's going to shift your marriage, your relationship, but it's also going to shift your culture. Because now when you start doing it, it invites others on your team to start doing it. Now they have a model in you, and they have the invitation for them to start doing it. And you can train them and you can start putting things into practice that have them feeling each other positively, talking about the positive attributes, things that they're seeing. Again, at the end of the day, people just want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be valued. They want to feel safe. And if we're constantly and consistently doing that, you're making those deposits. And that person wants to be around there. People want to be around places where they feel valued and seen. And so it isn't just once a week, once a day. It is effort, man. As a leadership, not leadership, from a leader standpoint, it takes effort, especially if you've been on the opposite. If you've been the one that's like, okay, this is what I didn't like about that, and this is where I didn't see you performing here, and this is the type of activity that I don't appreciate, and boom, dun, 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 dun. You go down the line. Now imagine that. Now you put some dysregulation on top of that. Is that even a word? Dysregulation? You're dysregulated. You're reactive. So now you see things you don't like, and you react versus respond from a regulated standpoint. And now you're angry. You're yelling. You're demeaning. You use sarcasm, man, talk about crushing a culture using sarcasm. So we have to get out of those old patterns. And these are just patterns that we learned from people that led us. So you have that opportunity. And man, relationships are a great, great. I wouldn't say. I mean, I hate to say that it's a training ground because obviously you want to use your you want to be training in other places to help foster your relationship. But it's we don't live in silos. Let me just put it that way. We don't live in silos. How you lead in your relationship is how you lead in business, and vice versa. You're not one person at home and somebody else at the office. You're into both. And so you want to be able to show up in that capacity to learning it better. So now I mentioned this is going to be one of the hardest things you're ever going to do because we are so, again, so ingrained and so comfortable with just the norm, which is the demeaning, the constant correction, the name calling, the sarcasm. We're just so accustomed to that's the way we think is normal, and that shouldn't be. That's those are old habits. That stuff doesn't work anymore. So we really have to be intentional. You got to be intentional. If you're not intentional, you're just going to fall back on old reactionary habits and ways of communicating that is not going to move the needle in your culture, in your leadership, to get people to behave differently or respond in different ways because you're doing the same old thing. Okay, so that's really the overarching pillar here is that ratio. And again, it's comes straight from if you've ever been in a marriage counseling session or a relationship counseling session, you don't have to be married to go to couples counseling. Couples counseling, that's the word I'm looking for. If you've ever been to couples counseling, you know the work that can be done there. And this comes directly from that. So first things first, next time you get home and your partner beats you home, walk in the door and think of 5 positives that you can say to the person that's your biggest ally, the person that you love. What could be the 5 things that you could say to them that could be, hold on, let me turn this off, that would have them really feeling good about themselves, and they're like, yeah, I appreciate that. That's loving. That feels good. I'm knocking everything over. So versus walking in, pointing out everything that's wrong, that's not going right. That's step number 1. It's just practice. Practice at home, practice at the office. Be someone who's constantly and consistently providing positives for every correction. Because at some point, again, it's like, hey, hold on. And you may not need a correction, but we're just making those deposits in the bank. And so with that being said, and I also, want to, for us to recognize that, the relationships that we have to build trust in them. And the more that I know you, and this is the second pillar to it, the more that I get to know you, the more that you get to know me. I'll put it back to sports. And as a former football player, there's 11 players on the field at one time. Me and 10 other guys. And I needed to know that everybody on this squad here, that they have my back. And they need to know that I had their back. And that's not something you just talk about. Like, hey, I got your back. Or, you got my back. Okay, cool. We can say that. But when it's on the line and when things really matter, the more I know you, the more I know your story, the more I know about your dreams, your worries, your passions, your aspirations, your fears, the more that I know about you, the more that I'm bought in on seeing you succeed. And the more I want to support. I mean, imagine if I didn't. It's just like, well, it doesn't make, that person gets beat or that person loses, that person gets fired. Not too much off my back because I'm not invested in it. So as a leader, it is really important that you open up, that you get vulnerable, because you have to, to lead means to go first. So you have to do it first. You have to let them see you. You have to let them um, see you doing it, feeling you. And then at that point, it invites them to do the same. And so you sharing vulnerably, I don't know where it came to be that we hang around the water cooler and we're just going to talk high level, like about the weather. Hey, how was your weekend? Oh, it was good. Yeah, kids baseball. Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, we went, just do a little overnight in the mountains. Okay, cool. How was it? Oh, it was beautiful. Oh, great. Just there's no depth. There's no depth. How do I know you? And so we want to get rid of that water cooler talk, and we want to get deeper. Now, I can't, as a leader, sit down and go, hey, tell me, give me your deepest thoughts, feelings. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lead with it. I'm going to tell you about me. You'd be surprised, because when you do that, people want to reciprocate because they want to share. They want to tell you about them. They want to tell you about what they're passionate about, what they're fearing. It makes us human. And in the age of machines, we need more humanity. We need more human, being human. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. The second piece is to be more human with those that everyone in your life, but we're talking leadership here. Those that you lead, is being more human with them. And once they connect with you on that level, I'm telling you that the power that you can create between the two of you, it's, again, I call it be the torch. Like if I light my own torch and you light your own torch and we come together, we're going to create even more light. And now we got a whole team who has lit their own torch. We come together, that's a blaze. We can't do that if someone's torch is out, someone is hiding, someone is not willing to step into what's true for them, their authenticity, the real them, and being okay with it, being open, being real, being raw, being vulnerable. That's what we're looking for from those in our team. But we're not going to get it unless we do it first. That's what it means to be the torch. See the little be the torch stuff branded here? That's the whole idea. So we lead first. And as I mentioned, a couple strategies is not only are we going to lead by being open, being real, being vulnerable, not worrying about what is anyone, if you are your true authentic self and you're real about it, you're telling the truth, what is anyone going to say about you that you haven't already said? So we can't worry about the judgment. We don't have to, that's out the door. You showed up real as you. That's what's powerful. And then it invites them to do the same. That's power. So my friends, off into your evening on a Friday. I appreciate you all coming to be here. Just a quick recap for those who are showing up a bit late. Yeah, relationship, couples counseling can teach you a lot about leadership, and primarily the study of the work that was done by the Gottman Institute, based in Seattle at the University of Washington, on feeling each other's emotional, or I should say, 5 positives to everyone correction. Okay, so giving those that you lead or in relationship with, man, just positive. Make those deposits in the bank, positive things. At recognition about something you really liked and what made you feel good. And then when there's time to take a withdrawal out of that bank and provide some correction or some feedback that may not be comfortable, you have built up enough in the bank that it doesn't matter. Like you've got enough in there that person you lead is like, I feel safe. Even in maybe where I need to get better. The person leading me came real, came honest, provide some correction, and like, I'm good. There's no falling apart. There's no gossiping at the water cooler about all this negativity that you hear all the time in the office space. So there you go. Any questions? By all means, DM me. Let me know how I can support more on this concept, this topic. We'll see you all on Wednesday, if not sooner.